Hello, everyone watching live, as well as those watching in the future to the recording. Thanks so much for spending the time with us here today. My name is John Horn. I'm the CEO of Stub Group. If you don't know who Stub Group is, long story short, we're a digital advertising agency. We help businesses dominate Google Ads. And today we're going to be talking a lot about Amazon, and I'm very excited to be joined by Clayton from Carbon6. Clayton, thanks so much for joining, and please introduce yourself. Tell us more about you and Carbon6.
Thanks for having me, John. So I'm director and general manager of a specific tool inside of Carbon6, and that tool is called PixelMe. So Carbon6 is for lack of a better term, a software roll-up. We buy softwares that have really good tech, but maybe not great marketing, and we help them with the marketing. Or we buy tech that could use some improvement, but they have great marketing, right? So in that case, we make the tech better. And so we have about 15 different software tools that help people sell primarily online on Amazon. Little bit of Walmart, but mostly Amazon. And I'm the director and general manager of one of those tools, PixelMe. So that's my professional background. And then personally, I'm from St. Louis, Missouri, born and raised. I moved to Puerto Rico in 2018, and I've been there ever since. I got involved in Amazon in 2014 doing Amazon to eBay arbitrage. And then in 2018, I moved into private label. And I joined Carbon6 pretty early on. The company's only just now 3 years old, and I've been there for about 2.5 years. And the first 6 months was very slow roll. So I was one of the first, 20 or 25 employees or so. I've just grown within Carbon6, and I've had a blast ever since I got here. So that's the quick rundown on me.
That's awesome. I think to those watching, I think this is going to be the conversation we're about to have is going to be particularly helpful, hopefully, and relevant to Amazon sellers who kind of have one of two goals, either looking to increase sales on Amazon and looking for ways to do that and looking for ways to also use off Amazon advertising to generate sales on Amazon, as well as for sellers who want to diversify beyond Amazon and add additional potentially direct to consumer side of things with their own websites. So I'm excited to talk about kind of both of those ideas as part of the conversation. I'm curious first though, you've been in Amazon since I think you said 2014. What are some of the biggest things that you've seen change on kind of the seller side of things over the past decade?
I would say, like, simply put, it's become a lot more competitive. And not just from people in different countries and just all over the world figuring out that you can make money online. That definitely has increased competition and made it more difficult. But also Amazon, forcing sellers to start running real businesses. You used to be able to make quite a bit of money on Amazon.com if you got in, 15 years ago, because there just wasn't many people doing it, and it was just the margins were so high. But now, one of our companies inside of Carbon6 is called SoStock, and they do what seems to be like almost a full-time job, keeping on top of all the Amazon fees that Amazon charges for, if you have too much inventory, if you have too little inventory, like if your inventory forecasting, which like huge conglomerate companies have difficulty forecasting, right? They charge you for, long-term storage, and they charge you if you don't have enough inventory, and a million different ways in between. So I've just seen it get more and more difficult. But the opportunity is still there. And I think that's why Carbon6 exists, is to help people like stay on top of all of these things, but also use software and tools to help them run their business. But, I wish I could say it was as easy as it was 15 years ago, but it's simply not the truth. And anybody saying that, of course, is not very well educated. But that was what I would say is the biggest, but it's remained true that there's still so much opportunity to make money, and people are doing it every single day, every single month, and every single year.
That really parallels what I've seen on the Google Ads side of things. I've been doing that for a decade plus at this point, and most of what you just described about Amazon kind of applies to Google as well. It used to be you could get away with a lot of things because there wasn't as much competition. You could throw some stuff out there and probably make some good money. Clicks were cheap, so forth and so on. And then over time, as the platform matures, as there's more competition, like you said on Amazon, there's still a tremendous amount of opportunity, but you've got to have the edges. You've got to have the right software, the right expertise, because there isn't the margin to make mistakes now in the way that there used to be back when, it was you and your neighbor Bob, and you're the only ones going after ads in your category.
Yeah.
So
Makes
Yeah.
sense. I wish we could go back in time and I would have started Amazon 8 years earlier, 10 years earlier, and same thing with Google Ads. But yeah, makes a lot of sense.
Totally. So with PixelMe, I know one of the primary kind of emphasis of PixelMe is related to off Amazon advertising, driving traffic to Amazon to ultimately turn into sales on Amazon. Could you go into some more detail about just what PixelMe is, how it works, how it makes money for the sellers that you work with?
Yeah, absolutely. So PixelMe like kind of lives in this like in between land, where on one side it connects to Amazon attribution, right, via API. And for anybody that doesn't know, Amazon attribution is Amazon's external ads sort of platform to try to give sellers visibility about what is happening when they're bringing traffic from Google or from Facebook or from emails or blogs or wherever, right? Sellers have an option. They can send that traffic to a Shopify store or a Walmart store or to an Amazon store. So Amazon spent millions of dollars building something out to say, when you send this traffic, we'll be able to tell you what happened. Did it turn into an add to cart? Did it turn into nothing? Or did the person buy? Or did they buy a lot? So PixelMe connects via API to Amazon attribution. And then on the other side, we connect to Google ads and Facebook ads and Instagram and TikTok. And we pull in all that information into one place. So you can easily see, hey, this is how much I spent and this is how much I made. And then on top of that, we make it very easy to create Google campaigns and Facebook and TikTok and Instagram campaigns from within PixelMe. So you don't have to go into TikTok. You don't have to go into Google. Although I would say that there's lots of, we manage this. It can be a self-managed service. There's lots of things that you need to still do inside of those, Google ads and Facebook ads. You can't just set it and forget it. And PixelMe also includes pixels for retargeting. So that's kind of how PixelMe started. When we first bought it, it didn't have any connection with Amazon. It was a retargeting link generator. So, it would add pixels. So you could retarget the person and follow them around the internet. And we kind of brought that to the Amazon ecosystem. But, in the other main thing I should say is that when we were building this, we had a hypothesis. We were like, there already existed other softwares or a software that kind of did this, but it didn't take into account something that we really wanted to account for, which was we thought that the Amazon algorithm would really, really like if you sent people from Google and Facebook, right? Like the Amazon's got a ton of traffic, but they'll take more always. So we had a theory that if we sent targeted like keyword traffic from Google to Amazon, we would see those keywords on Amazon increase in rank. So, if you're number 10 and we can get you to number 1 for blue t-shirt, you're going to sell more if you're number 1. Well, we ran a lot of experiments and now we have thousands and thousands of campaigns running for hundreds and hundreds of customers. And we see the same thing, that they increase their organic rank. And so that's kind of really why we dove into this external traffic world. And then you layer on top retargeting, and it's been extremely, I would say, like disruptive in the Amazon ecosystem because there wasn't really something like it before that measured rank. So it's not just like, can you create the campaign, but we measure a ton of analytics. We pull in your keyword rank, we pull in your BSR, your TACOS, your ACOS, your return on ad spend. We calculate everything. And so a customer can log into PixelMe and see, is this working for me? Is this smart? Am I getting an ROI on this? Is it working out how I hoped it would? Or is this just a big waste of money and I need to stop investing in TikTok and double down on Google, or just stop external advertising altogether, which very rarely is the case. That was a long-winded answer, but I hope that made sense.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense and sparks a number of follow-up questions I want to ask you. So it sounds like really it's a virtuous cycle where you're not, so you're running traffic off of Amazon to Amazon. Obviously, you want that traffic to convert and be profitable, but there's also this benefit of that then is improving your organic results on Amazon, so that you're then getting more sales organically that you're not having to pay for. So you're kind of getting two for the price of one from your ad spend. Is that a good way to look at it?
So yes and no, I would say. So you totally get it. The idea is to increase organic rank, so you get more organic sales on Amazon. There are lots of customers, I will say, that they are not profitable when running Facebook ads to Amazon or Google ads to Amazon, but they're okay with it because they're increasing rank. So their goal, they come in saying, hey, I know I have a really cheap product and it's going to be hard to find clicks on Google. that will make this a profitable endeavor. But my goal is to increase my organic rank. So you guys can, spend $2 to make $1 if you can get me from rank of 25 to number 5 on this keyword. So they'll give us goals and we work with clients that way. But then there are people, to your point, John, that do get a double whammy, so to speak. And usually those are the more expensive products, because we see that once if you have a $5 or $10 product on Amazon, when we look at the Google cost per click, a lot of times we see it's $1, which, for a $10 product, that's a lot. That's 10% of your margin right there. And, a good conversion rate for us would be probably around 5%. So we're spending $20 to get 10. And that example I just gave, but the same math for a $100 product is different. It's, we're advertising a $100 product and the cost per click on Google is still $1. Said differently, it doesn't scale with the price of the product. And so we see expensive products often turning a direct profit from Google or from Facebook to Amazon. And then they also get the benefit of increasing their organic rank. And I'd be remiss if I didn't say that Amazon has something called the brand referral bonus, which means that if you sell a $100 product on Amazon, they'll give you $10 back. It's 10% of whatever the product price was, in the USA only. But yeah, if you sell a $50 product, they'll give you $5. You sell a $100 product, they'll give you $10. But if you sell a $10 product, they're only going to give you $1. So again, it covers one click. It's so for a lot of reasons, expensive products have an advantage when just thinking about direct profit, not that profit that comes later from increasing rank.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we have that exact same conversation often with our commerce clients who are running their own direct-to-consumer websites, and it's all about, hey, if you're selling a $5 widget, we're not going to be able to make that profitable for you with Google Ads unless you can figure out other ways to generate lifetime value from that customer. Yep. If it's $5 widget, then gets you that customer and that email address, then you can sell $100 worth of product to them over the next 6 months. Well, hey, maybe we can make that work, but it's all about that lifetime value and figuring out those margins. Whereas, like you said, if you got a $1,000 product, there might be enough margin there to actually make direct sales work through Google.
Absolutely. We have the same conversation all the time with supplement companies about LTV too. What CAC would you be happy with? Okay, great. We'll go figure that out. So it just depends. Is it a one-off product? Is it a repeat purchase product? On Amazon, you don't always get the benefit of getting the customer email to where you can encourage repeat purchases, but there's DSP and there are ways to capture emails as well with first-party data providers. So there's some of that. But you have a lot more control in some ways when you have the customer's phone number and email from a D2C order. So it's different but similar. So we're having similar conversations, but with slight nuances.
So, question for you on the remarketing side of things. I'm a little bit of a tracking junkie, so I'm very, very curious about how that works. I assume that Amazon doesn't allow you to install pixels on Amazon.com. So is it link based? Is it you're installing a pixel because someone clicks a specific link, or some other method?
Yeah, so really good question, and you're exactly right. Amazon has a pixel; it's their own internal pixel, right? That they use for DSP, demand side platform, and that's a service that they, of course, charge for having access to and advertising. They're creating their own platform. So the way the pixel works on Google and on Meta, there's something called parallel URL integration. You might be familiar with it. Yeah. And so anyway, when you click, and I'm not like a super tech nerd, so if I mess this up, feel free to correct me. But my understanding is that when there's one link clicked, like a Google ad, that two things happen. One, the customer goes directly to Amazon.com. And that's all they see. There's no redirect. There's nothing going on. But in the background, sort of what I've coined is like a ghost instance. It's pinging off of whatever domain you would like. And that is where you can fire a pixel to try to add them to, an audience inside of your Meta account. So you can retarget them on Facebook or Instagram. Same for TikTok, Pinterest, Quora. Wherever you want to retarget that person, you can fire those pixels with that parallel URL integration on any domain that you choose. PixelMe has our own domain that we give to people if they just want to plug and play and use our domain. Or if you want to use your own website, you can add your domain to your PixelMe account as well. So that's kind of how it works. But sadly, far too few people use the retargeting aspect. A lot of them, even in the beginning, can't be coaxed into even starting a Meta ads account or TikTok ads account because they're just like, oh, I'm never planning to advertise on Meta. But then maybe 6 months later, they want to. And they're like, can we do that retargeting thing you said? And we're like, well, you haven't been collecting an audience because you didn't add a pixel. So no, we can do it a month from now if you start today, but it takes time. So I always encourage people to use pixels when they can. They're free. We don't charge any extra for adding them into the link. So
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, worst case scenario, you collected some data you're not going to use.
yeah,
Best case scenario, you're setting yourself up for success. That's really interesting to me that a lot of advertisers are not interested in your marketing initially, because to me, with my marketing brain, that's such low-hanging fruit. It's generally speaking, very cheap traffic because you're targeting a relatively small audience of people who are literally the warmest and most likely to purchase, and you can just help push them to make that final sale instead of forgetting or getting distracted or seeing another competitor and wandering off into someone else's bank account.
Yeah, 100% agree. I think that we deal with like really large companies, and then we deal with like mom and pop shops. So the bigger companies, I think, absolutely understand that and take advantage of that. It's more the individuals that are trying to do 50 things. Like I said before, Amazon's gotten more competitive than ever. They got a lot on their mind. They got a large to-do list. And some of them are like, I don't need to open up a Meta ads account, a TikTok ads account right now. I'm not interested in advertising there. And then later they are, and we work through it. But yeah, the bigger companies, of course, that have enough resources and time to do things the right way, they take care of it.
That makes sense. So on the Amazon side of things, in the Amazon ecosystem, are there any patterns you're seeing right now or features of the winners, of the businesses that are doing really well? Like, what are some of the things that you would pull out and recommend to Amazon sellers who are watching this to say, hey, here's what you should be thinking about or doing, because this is what's kind of differentiating the winners from the rest of the pack?
Yeah, I would say, I could give a really long answer to that question, but I guess to keep it short and not to like be self-serving, but they're definitely using tools, right? The smart people aren't doing everything manually. And it's not all Carbon 6 tools. There's other great, fantastic tools out there that, we don't own, PPC management tools, et cetera, but people are definitely leveraging more software than ever. The people that really got it dialed in, like, they're using a lot of software. That's the truth. The other thing I would say is that they're going to like events, or they're in some sort of community where they're sharing information with other people that are doing really well. You meet somebody that does $50 million a year on Amazon. They know other people that are doing $50 million a year on Amazon, and those people talk. I think that, if you're starting out on Amazon or just e-commerce in general, like today, one of the best things you can do is get into a community. And, whether it be a Facebook group or one of those like $1 million sellers is a Carbon 6 partner that just you have to do $1 million to be in the club, but they have meetups all around the world, Australia, Europe, US, and they have a huge treasure trove of information and recorded sessions, and they get discounts with different software companies to help leverage the group's size. And so these communities sharpen the learning curve significantly. It's one place where Carbon 6 definitely could improve, is like getting our own sort of like education thing. We usually are dealing with somewhat substantial customers, people that have already they're not brand new beginners usually. And so for that reason, we haven't really focused on it. But $1 million sellers has done a fantastic job, and there's other groups out there too that have done a really good job of helping sellers that are just now getting to the precipice, like, shoot off. So community would be my quick answer.
Got it. So software community. It makes a lot of sense too. I mean, one of the cool things on the community side of things, because Amazon is such a massive platform, you can be selling water bottles. You can talk to somebody selling umbrellas. You guys aren't competing with each other. You're never going to, you're not going to drive each other's costs up. If you share your secrets, you can both rise. That rising tide floats all boats, because you're seeing, well, hey, this is what's working. This is what the algorithm's doing. Here's, the product descriptions that are converting, or fill in the blank. And even though you are both sellers in the same marketplace, you are able to, to combine the success stories and raise each other up. So I think that's
absolutely
a really important point.
Even if you're selling the same product, there's usually 100 other people selling it. So even if you two helped each other and you became number 1 and 2, that's better than neither of you guys helping each other and you both being 6 and 7, right?
Yes.
I've never seen it thing where there's just two sellers. Amazon.
If there is, you should probably jump on that because
Exactly. And then a month from now there will be 100. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Because people are always looking for those niche opportunities. But yeah, you're spot on. Like some people are so nervous about sharing information, but of course, you can give away 8 out of 10 secrets. Keep the 2 that you value the most close to your chest, but share and give back, and then you'll get back. And I've seen that time and time again. The people that are really winning are not as cagey and as like paranoid as the average person, I would say.
Awesome. So I'm curious. Obviously, you and your team get to talk to a lot of Amazon sellers.
Mm-hmm.
How common is it for the Amazon sellers you're working with to be looking for ways to diversify beyond Amazon? Are they often thinking about their own websites, or is it mostly just Amazon is the core focus and that's what we're spending all of our time and attention on?
No, I would say that 5 years ago, I would say the focus was almost all on Amazon, and that's starting to change. If you go back to the idea that these people don't necessarily have their own futures in their hands, they don't control what the next 6 months is going to look like, because Amazon can create a new fee or a new rule, or they can suspend your account, or any number of things. And so, people have been making a big push to encourage sellers to not become a product seller, but become a brand. And not just become a brand, an Amazon brand, but a online business. That's kind of been like the evolution, right? Hey, we're Amazon product sellers. No, we're not. We're brands. And okay, no, we're not just brands. We are online brands. We're not just Amazon brands. We're online brands. So people are now beginning to definitely, some have been doing it for years. They're right. There's this huge curve. It's like early adopters, like early majority, late majority, all that stuff. But yes, people are absolutely creating D2C. People are definitely pioneering in the Walmart space and now the TikTok shop space for sure. But TikTok shop, Walmart, those are other marketplaces similar to Amazon. TikTok shop has very low rates right now for selling because, of course, they want market share. At any time, they can say it's double, like overnight, right? You're playing in their sandbox. The same is true for Walmart. And then, of course, there's D2C, where you have a lot more control. And, you get emails and phone numbers, so you have a lot of value there. So I see more and more and more people focusing on that. And I've seen it from both ways. I've gone to a lot of D2C conferences like EEE in Miami, Cindelane out in California. And these people are now trying to get on Amazon. They're like, I've crushed it on D2C, right? This is the people that have, that are on Shark Tank and other things. And now they're trying to get onto Amazon. And everybody's like, oh, Amazon's easy. What's hard is like figuring out how to get traffic to your D2C. But the people are swapping. But in all ways, they're diversifying and just trying to grow their pie. But yes, long answer again. I'm good at that, if you haven't noticed. Short answer is absolutely people are looking to get out of just the Amazon box.
I think it's a very smart move for most businesses. It's certainly depending on where you're at. I think a lot of new businesses struggle because they try to be everywhere and do everything at once, and so they don't do a good job anywhere. They're like, oh, I've got Amazon, I've got Walmart, I've got my website, and they're devoting 10% of their time to each channel, 10% of their bit, and it's just not enough anywhere. So I see a lot of value in picking one place to start and making it really good, whether that be Amazon or your own website. But then once you've kind of figured things out, you've got things moving in the right direction, then like you said, it's okay, how do we diversify our risk so that if Amazon adds that new fee or their algorithm changes or, a new competitor takes over position 1 on Amazon, I don't suddenly have to worry about how I feed my family because I've got these other streams, created as well. I think I'd say of the businesses coming to us who are on Amazon and are looking for help with their D2C marketing, I think probably the biggest patterns I'm seeing in terms of why they're doing that is A, looking for that stability, B, looking for more of that margin because they are paying so much in fees to Amazon or the other platform. Now, that's tricky because, hey, it's not cheap to send traffic to your own website either. So, you're kind of replacing platform fees with ad spend in many cases. But then the third reason, like you said, is that control. Is because then they have access to customer email addresses and phone numbers, and they have more ability to increase the lifetime value, to do cross-selling, set up subscriptions, all that good stuff from their websites. So I think, a lot of people ask me, well, what's more important, SEO or PPC, paid or organic. I think you could ask the same question, Amazon or my website, which is more important. And I'd say the same thing I say when people ask about organic versus paid is both. Both is best because they build upon each other, and they, if you've got your brand on your website and people are being made aware of that, well, they might actually purchase from Amazon because they trust Amazon. And yet you're only getting those dollars because they saw about your brand elsewhere, or vice versa. So it kind of all builds upon itself. I'm curious, TikTok, you brought that up. TikTok Shop's growing. I know TikTok is part of PixelMe's platforms that it works with. Obviously, very much in the news, and I don't want to go political here, but what is your kind of risk assessment? How likely do you think TikTok is going to be a thing a year from now?
It's a really hard question. One thing I'll say actually before we jump into that is about TikTok. I don't actually recommend using PixelMe for TikTok. Does it work? Like, technically the answer is yes. But like I'll say that, I'll take that back. I wouldn't say don't use PixelMe with TikTok. I would say be prepared to look at different metrics than you look at for Facebook or Instagram or Google. Because from what I can tell is that TikTok and Amazon are not playing nicely together. Google and Amazon play very nicely. Facebook and Amazon, they just came out with a new thing where you can now shop through your Facebook profile on Amazon. But TikTok, the attribution that I talked about earlier, where you can see what happened, did it turn into a sale? Did it not turn into a sale? That program Amazon built with TikTok, we'll know that we bought like 1,500 clicks, and Amazon attribution will show 15. So like 1% or 1.5% sometimes is showing up. But there's a lot of case studies out there saying if you send TikTok traffic to Amazon, that it'll increase your rank, that it'll increase your new to brand purchases and your overall brand search. And so it has a lot of positive effects, but it's a lot more difficult to like measure the profitability because the clicks aren't being picked up, the purchases aren't being picked up. So I would recommend Paul Harvey with Rankster. He does a really good job of breaking down the metrics and looking at it. I know some of his clients use PixelMe. I'd recommend using PixelMe, but have somebody that can show you how to measure those campaigns. And now on to your question. I just wanted to put that caveat out there. So if somebody starts,
that's
like,
super
what's going on with TikTok, I just wanted to be out there. Do I think TikTok has legs essentially, right? TikTok Shop, or is it going to like cave and then just become like a, what it has been? Social media, Snapchat type thing. Vine back in the day. I could be completely wrong, right? Nobody knows, but I would say, yeah, I think it will at least figure out a way to monetize it and keep it attractive. I think TikTok's just, it slowed down a little bit. Like its growth was crazy and then it slowed down. It can't maintain crazy growth forever. There's only so many people that can download the app, etc. And I think that there is a battle right now between TikTok's ads team and TikTok platform team, because you can push traffic right now from TikTok to Amazon, but it like purposely is breaking it. The attribution's not working. It's becoming more difficult. And there's a lot of things out there saying that if you link outside to other websites, that it's hurting your visibility. It's pushing down your rankings, but they're still allowing it. And why are they allowing it? Because it's immediate revenue, right? TikTok is like, needs to make money. They need to keep stockholders, people happy, whatever. So it's immediate cash if you allow advertising to go outside. But the platform, of course, says, well, think about Amazon, think about eBay. You can't click on something on Amazon and end up on TikTok. You can't click on something on eBay and end up on Amazon. They built an internal platform where they keep that customer inside, and we should do the same. So it really, I think, depends on like who wins that battle and what they want to be. If they want to be a marketplace with a social aspect, or if they want to be a social media company with a little bit of, you can purchase here, kind of like Facebook's tried to do. If I had to guess, I would say that they'll lean towards the marketplace side and try to do both. Like you said earlier, hey, which one's better? Both. So I think they'll try to do both. And I think at least to some extent, like TikTok Shop will exist 5 years from now. That would be my guess. How big it is, I don't even want to postulate.
You heard it here, folks. You heard it here first, folks. Clayton has made a guarantee it will be here. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense, the logic behind that. And hopefully they do a better job of creating the marketplace than Google attempted with their whole buy on Google approach, where they wanted to compete with Amazon and have people purchase directly through Google, send those orders over to e-commerce platforms, and people just didn't use it. People just weren't purchasing, and it was a pain for advertisers, e-commerce companies to set up. And so they finally sunset that, and they're like, yep, we're going to keep sending traffic to Amazon, everybody else, because that's our strength, not the marketplace side of things.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. A lot of people will say, okay, what's your ideal client for PixelMe? And if you have a thought for that, I'd love to hear it. But I'm also asking, who is not the right fit to work with you? What are, if any, characteristics are there where you say, you know what, kind of like you said on TikTok, we might not necessarily be the best thing for TikTok, or if we are, for TikTok, you want to think about things differently. What other things kind of would lead to you pushing potential clients away?
Number one, if you're not brand registered, and it's crazy enough, we can guarantee who's in the buy box, but if you're a wholesaler and selling on Amazon, there's a lot of them, right? You're selling a very well-known branded product, Black & Decker, for example. There's 10 people that are fighting for the buy box on Amazon for that product. A lot of times those types of people don't have what's called brand registry. So they're not a brand registered agent underneath that brand. And if you don't have brand registry, you can't get the visibility. You can't use Amazon attribution. Believe it or not, we got customers that come to us and say, I don't care if I can see. I just want you to guarantee that I'll be in the buy box when you send it from Google. And I'll fly blind, and I'll just see if I'm up month over month. So we have people that can't see anything that still use us because we can guarantee the buy box, and we can calculate their tacos by pulling in their Amazon data. So we can still see some stuff, but we can't see literally if we got a single purchase, no matter how much they spend on Google, and they still are cool with it. So, but generally, I would say if you're not brand registered, then that would disqualify you. And then the other thing I would say is, if we have quite a few people that come to us and say, can you help us with D2C? And the truth for that is that a lot of people have used PixelMe in the past for D2C, but our team can't really help. And I'm not convinced that we have a strategic advantage compared to other things out there. It's not something that we focus on, that we continue to build on, or anything like that. I tell people pretty nuanced, off the cuff. I'm like, well, you'd have to set up events inside of your website, event triggers, so that you can see when this happens and then when that. But that's about all I know. And then I just shut up because I don't know what to do after that. And our team doesn't focus on D2C. So those two things, I would say, if you're not brand registered, try to get brand registered. We can help you walk through the steps to try to talk to Black & Decker and how you can get that status. Some people still choose to. And then if you want to, retarget even to your D2C, we tell people send traffic to Amazon and then retarget to Amazon, because we can help you and we have strategic advantage. We can optimize for conversion. We have a patent on that, where nobody else can optimize for conversion when sending traffic to Amazon. So we have some clear reasons why people should choose us, and I feel comfortable having that conversation. I don't feel comfortable when people say, great, can you help me with the D2C as well? And so that's my quick answer.
Well, that's a perfect segue to a shameless plug for me, which is, on the Stub Group side, we focus on the D2C side of things. That's our bread and butter, where we are helping e-commerce brands, non-e-commerce as well. We work with a wide variety of types of businesses, but I think most people watching this are in the e-commerce space. So, we're focused on, okay, how do we help you grow your business directly to consumer, getting traffic to your website, leveraging platforms like Google, Facebook, TikTok, etc., to drive those sales, and to try and figure out that attribution. Figure out, okay, well, if we're running ads on Facebook and Google, what's the value of doing that? Are people, which is actually bringing customers? Are they both bringing customers together? And figuring out that cost per acquisition, per customer, and all that good stuff. So that's one of the things that I really like about partnering with you guys at Carbon 6 PixelMe, is that I feel like our focuses align really well. Subgroup, we're not focused on sending traffic to Amazon. We're focused on directly advertising our clients' websites, and then vice versa. You're really good at getting the traffic to Amazon. And so I think I'd love to work with more businesses where we're both working together and kind of leveraging those particular strengths to build their businesses in general.
Yeah, I think it's a perfect partnership. You guys are good at what we're not good at, and that's the types of partners we like, because we want to obviously keep the customers happy, and even if they're not a Carbon 6 customer or a PixelMe customer at all, we still want to be able to help them. We still want to be able to send them in the right direction to people that we trust, that we know do good work, and that's what we found in you guys.
And that's one of the crazy things about marketing these days. There are so many facets and so many areas where there can be expertise. We did a live webinar, I think it was last month, with a company called Stay.ai, and they're focused on the subscription aspect of things and helping businesses, set up subscriptions and use AI to figure out how to maximize the value of those subscriptions. It just goes on and on and on. You've got email marketing. There's just so many things that, if I'm an advertiser or a business owner right now, like, I can never be expert at all of these things. And so it's about finding the right software and the right partners that is expert on each particular facet, and then trying to combine those together and make sure that they're working in sync and not against each other, obviously, to drive the growth of the business. So as we probably come here to come up towards wrapping up here, what would you say, Clayton, would be the one or two things that you want to communicate to Amazon sellers? If you're out there speaking to the entire Amazon seller world, to use the Tim Ferriss example, you've got a billboard that can be seen by everybody. What do you want people to know or to do?
Good question. Was not prepared for that one. One or two things. One, I would say, and this is another Carbon 6 tool, but there's a lot of, and most people I think have reimbursement companies, but there's a lot of money out there that you are likely owed by Amazon for products that you sent into Amazon that are either lost or damaged, or you can lose them on the way to the warehouse, or they can find them at the warehouse and then lose them when they're redistributing them, or customers didn't return them. Generally, it's and this works on 1P and 3P. We usually find between 1% and 2% of overall revenue. Like the other day, we worked with a big company. We found like $2 million that they were owed. Wow. If you're doing $1 million a year, you're probably owed $10,000 a year. We can go back in time and look at that. So those companies, if you're doing third party, is sellerinvestigators.com. It's the best in the business that does that gets money back. Everything has to be done manually. We have a team of 500 people that manually submit cases. And then on the first party side, it's called ChargeGuard, .co. And they do the same thing for 1P, and they're the best in the world at that. So I just always tell people that, because I've done this on webinars before, and then people have emailed me and said, "Hey, I just got 25 grand back. Thanks for that." So that's the thing you can do today. You sign up for a free audit. You get free information 24 hours from now. Even if you have somebody doing it for you right now, doesn't matter. Check to see if they're doing a good job. We can go back 18 months on third party, 5 years on first party, and see, have they missed anything? And if they have, then we can go get it for you. And then you can readdress if that company that you're working with is the right company or not. So that's the thing I always tell people to do right off the jump. And then outside of what I kind of already mentioned about getting involved in a community, whether it be $1 million sellers or some other, there's a lot of online communities. Just don't try to go at it yourself. Find people, learn from other people. People have made mistakes that you don't need to make. So try to avoid all the mistakes that other people have already made by talking to other people. And then, of course, I would say that if you're having trouble increasing your on Amazon organic rank, then don't use PixelMe just right away. Get, again, a free audit, and we'll tell you if we think your product is a good fit, because not every product is a good fit. There's a lot of reasons why it could not be a good fit, and we would tell you go do X, Y, or Z and then come back. But if you're looking to increase your organic rank, at least get free information from PixelMe, free audit to see, if you could increase your organic rank, because organic rank is the lifeblood of Amazon businesses. You can't pay for every single purchase, or you're going to drive yourself crazy.
I love it. So keep Amazon accountable, make them pay you all the money that they owe you, ask for help, and leverage free audits that are out there. I love it.
Much better said and much more concise than I said, but yes, exactly.
For the free audit, where can people go to get that from you?
Yeah, so guys can start off at carbon6.io. You can branch off to all the other tools, but it's sellerinvestigators with an S.com. And then chargeguard.co You make sure that it's chargeguard.co. I'm pretty sure it is. And then last but not least, PixelMe.app.
PixelMe.app. Awesome.
And yeah, it is chargeguard.co by Carbon6. But if you forget all these names, just go to carbon6.io and poke around, and you'll find Seller Investigators, ChargeGuard, and PixelMe.
Awesome. Well, Clayton, thank you so much for joining today. I know I learned a lot, and I'm hopeful that those watching learned as well. And you've got your action steps. Everyone who's watching, you know how to get in touch with Carbon6 and look into those resources. And hey, if you are in the DTC space or thinking about getting into it, we'd love to chat with you about that here at StubGroup. Go to stubgroup.com. We'll do a free consultation. If you're already running advertising campaigns, we'll take a look at what you're doing and tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly of what we see. And if you're just dipping your toes into that water, we'll help you think through and strategize and see what's going to be the best way to take that plunge.